And at least I do have a cardiology appointment tomorrow. So,
oh, good. He can check all of this.
Yeah, he could check the pump. So,
right. The show's starting, by the way, so be careful.
Okay. Yeah. Well, hopefully my heart is good. We'll see. We'll know tomorrow.
Right. I keep needing to remind myself when my appointment is, my yearly.
Right. So, do you remember me telling you about the appointment to the cardiologist where I was supposed to have it in, I don't know if it was June or July, and they called me and said my doctor couldn't be there, so you could either have...
It was like the nurse practitioner or like the training lady. Yeah.
Right. And or maybe like something else. I forget what it was. And if I said one, it was October, which as we record this, it is. Or I could have the other one and it would be December. Oh, no, or I could have my doctor and it would be December. Mm-hmm. So I was like, an extra 6 months before you check my heart. This seems like a good idea, right? So I went with the nurse practitioner.
Well, if you haven't been having any problems, sure.
Right. No, well, and at least I don't have any stress on it lately. So,
woof.
So
$500 tier now.
Right. So I was like, okay. And that was supposed to be after my trip back from New York. It was like the end of October. So I get a call, and this was supposed to be on like two after darks ago, but like there was a lot going on some of them. So this lady calls up, and this is from Geisinger, and so Geisinger covers everything from my general practitioner to my cardiologist to my optometrist. You know what I mean? Like, so they could be calling about anything, and they're like, "Well, it's about your appointment with Dr. Rebar," and I'm like, "I don't know who Dr. Rebar is." And she's like, well, blah, blah, blah. Like, you don't know? And I'm like, no, I know this doctor. And I'm like, what's this appointment for? And she goes, it's for your cardiologist. I said, okay, well, when whoever called me to move, she's like, because your doctor can't be there. I said, yes, I get that. But when you called me, you said that I would get an assistant. Nobody gave me a fucking name. It was just an assistant. So when you're calling me up and saying this that name means nothing to me. Because I figured I'd get like whatever the next assistant was, when I came in for my appointment, it would be who's ever next in the queue. That's the assistant that I would get. And she's like, yeah, okay, I get it. Well, that kind of had me out, but I'm not going to yell at the lady who doesn't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't do me anything. And she's like, but I just find it a little, inconvenient that you move this. She's like, well, yeah, I'm just going to let you know if you want to see your cardiologist proper, the doctor, he's in the office less and less. So you're going to get assistance or because this is at the hospital, whatever like cardiologist is next under him. Because he's kind of like golfing more, but that's not the way they say it, but they're like, he's taking time off facing things out. And I'm like, okay, but can we just like get this down? And then they gave me that appointment, and that was supposed to be next week, right before I went to New York. And then they called me and said, Friday of last week, it said, no, your only option is this. She's not going to be in the office that day. So your only appointment is this day, which is tomorrow, and your choice is this time or this time. So it's either 10 in the morning or 3 in the afternoon. And not knowing what I'm going to say in a minute, I said, I'll take the 10. And I'm glad I did, because there's a political candidate coming to town at 3:00 tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to go to Scranton for a 3:00 appointment. But that's all that has me, Joe. That's what has me worked up this week. I don't know if you could hear it in my voice.
Just that?
Just that.
Nothing else?
Nothing else at all. So. But
oh, goodness.
So I got that out of the way. I have a question for you, though.
All right.
And I know you're going to cover most of it on your other award-winning, award-eligible podcast at Oz Wrestling. But have fun at Steel Stack.
Yeah, definitely. Show was really good. How could I put this? If you're a subscriber to the $100 tier, you heard Todd and I talking about some stuff.
Oh, is this about length?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we had a couple new people on the show that had never been there before. So they include in the thing of like, be careful on what you do with your stuff. It's not like it's a show for babies, but don't like go out there and whip your dick out.
Right.
And like say also it was all sorts of profanities, even though one of the guys on the show, kind of part of his gimmick is that he's right up, like his dick doesn't come out, but it's there. Right. So one of the people that we had was a referee that we don't usually have, and he comes up to me and he says, "Hey, what do you guys usually do for time cues?" And I still am laughing. And I said, I go, I'm very happy that you're here. I go, there are no time cues, right? Mm-hmm. I go, even if there was a thing as time cues, nobody would pay attention to them. And he goes, I'll pay attention to them. He goes, I want you to cue me when there's 2 minutes, and I want you to cue me when there's 1 minute. And I go, I will do that. I go, I'm looking forward to working with you. And then we go on. And then a little bit later on in the day, he goes, hey, for this one match, give me a cue at 5 minutes, 2 minutes, and 1 minute. I go, just that match? He goes, just that match. I go, perfect. So, and again, this is not a knock. And I don't know if, listen, different audiences on different shows. We had two referees. One was the new person, one that we've had once or twice before. New person, he and I working together. Those matches hit their times, if not came in a few seconds under.
Oh, under time, under budget. I love to hear it.
Time, under budget. And it was one of those things where we were the rare indie show, and we'll get a little bit into this a little bit more as well, where we were the rare indie show where we ended up starting 10 minutes earlier because the mayor of Bethlehem was supposed to do a bit at the beginning of the show.
Was he taking a bump?
No. But then he was late getting there. So we just ended up, we're like, fuck it. We're like starting 10 minutes early, right? So it just meant that the thing that we were going to do at the beginning of the show, we did like coming out of intermission when he actually was there, right? And it was, the way to introduce Orange Cassidy to the crowd, a crowd favorite, especially in the Bethlehem area.
Right. Well known on Instagram.
What was that?
OC, well known on Instagram.
Yes.
And you not so much, that's all.
Oh, okay. No, I think you didn't understand what that was, but that's okay.
Okay.
Sometimes the group chat, when it comes to wrestling stuff,
gets lost on me. Anyway.
Gets lost on you, yes. But show was really good. Things just happen to go a little bit over. I think Mantis wanted the show done at like 10:30, and the show was actually done at like 10:45, which isn't bad, all things considered. I think, the bit with the mayor ran a little bit long. There were a couple other matches that ran a little bit longer than they should have. But it was great having a referee that was able and ready and willing to work in regards to keeping the show on track.
That's what I like to hear.
That's what I love to hear.
I'm going to have to implement my plan. I'll have to go down and I have to put it in my packet for Mantis. But
I have a packet for Mantis too.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
But
but nobody and that's the thing, DJ and Brett didn't come. Adam escaped like as soon as the show was over. Right. I made sure the bell didn't get left at the building. I made sure that it was with the ring stuff. I said my goodbyes and I got on the road, but going down, taking the turnpike, there was like construction going down. But coming home, apparently, Saturday night, the turnpike was closed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I had to take like 33 to 80 the whole way home, which sucked.
Oh.
And
it was cheaper.
It was all right. It was cheaper, right? So got home. Ended up, hopefully, fingers crossed, Monday, mowed the lawn, did a piss job on the backyard for the last time for the season, right?
Right.
Because we're in that, and again, this isn't weather talk, but we're in that sweet spot right now where the air's not on, but the heat's not on either.
And slowly the frost is going to hit one morning and kill the grass for the year. So,
right. That's what I was hoping to because the last time that I mowed the lawn, I just did the front yard. So the backyard was like double. So it was like extra pain in the ass to do.
Right. Probably wet and heavy.
Well, so that's the thing. Sunday morning, even like by like 2, it was still wet and heavy. So then I did it Monday at like 5:30. And because it was cold, it was wet and heavy.
That's what I call all my videos, wet and heavy. But
oh my God.
but I'm glad. Hopefully that's the last of your grass. So I have, I think, one more. My grass cutter said he's going to do it one more time, which I'm fine with because I pay him in bouts of 2 anyway. So I'm like, whatever. The check is cashed. We'll do it. You know what I mean?
Right, right. And then we have a deal. We changed our car insurance over the summer, right?
Oh, they're the worst car insurance companies, but go ahead.
Don't get me started. So, obviously we'd been with whatever company it was and our rate went up. I had an accident,
Right.
So
but rates went up on everything. Just
right, okay, so listen. Don't get me started on insurance. But yes.
My house insurance is now equal to my car insurance. That's not good.
We could talk.
Well, that's not what it should be, is what I'm saying.
It depends, but again, there's a lot of variables.
I only hit 10 nuns and orphans, so I'm good.
Right. So I go and I shop around and I get the new insurance. I get it in place. It's like beginning of July. And the guy was super motivated. Like I was just dicking around online like July 4th. And the guy like calls me on July 4th. Be like, oh, I saw you were doing a quote. I'm like, oh my God, you guys are motivated, right? So it came in at a really good price. Now, the one thing that the guy forgot to mention, or that he wasn't like, he had mentioned about like, oh, if you download our app, you get this, right?
Right.
And I'm like, no, I don't want to download no app, right?
I always found that downloading app works out in the end, but go ahead.
Right. I'd say it's like a 2% window of it working out with a 1% margin of error.
Right.
Okay. So the guy still went ahead and bound the coverage with us agreeing to this app. And it's an app that's called like Smart Track or some shit. Have you ever seen those like commercials for other insurance companies like years bygone where it's like, oh, they send you a gimmick in the mail and you put this gimmick in your car and that gimmick tracks your insurance or tracks your driving, sends it to the insurance, whatever. Okay. Right.
It'll know how much you drive because that's what your insurance rates are based on partially. That's why you give the odometer thing. You know what I mean? That's my understanding. But let me finish.
We could get it. You want to get into that off air? I know a guy.
Right. But then there's also the whole thing like with that gimmick, it's supposed to be like a GPS. It knows if you're going over the speed limit and stuff like that and not stopping at stop signs. Isn't that what it's for?
Okay. So so this one that we have, right? What was that? Was that me today? Or was that my walk? I have to double check here because I'm up to a lot of monkey business, right?
You got steps going on.
I do. No, so this one was real. So let me do this one. Okay. So guy binds the thing with the app. We never download the app. So then we get a thing in the mail that says our insurance is going up because we never downloaded the app. I go, okay. I call them. I go, listen, the guy never clarified it with me. We'll download the fucking app. Whole process to get the app on both April and I's phone, whatever, right? So it runs and it scores how you drive on 5 different categories. Speed, smooth driving, trip duration, time and day, and phone habits.
Ooh.
Okay.
It knows when you're naughty on your phone while you're driving.
Or does it?
Oh, okay. I don't know. See, I wish I knew a guy.
Okay. So, trip duration, like I mentioned, the reason I'm bringing this up is because like I had to take 33 to 80 home, right? Which was a longer drive. And it was an area that I was unfamiliar with. So I had to use my GPS. For that trip home, I got scored negatively in trip duration because I was driving longer than an hour continuously without taking a break. And phone habits was because I was looking at my GPS to make sure that I was going the right way. Right. Speed, whatever. It is what it is. Time of day, it scores you negatively if you're driving too early in the morning, too late at night, or during high commute times of the day.
So you mean all the time?
Yes.
I see what you're saying.
That is the one that is a virtual impossibility to get a good score in. Okay.
Right. The algorithm is like it's between 1 o'clock and 1:01 and 30 seconds. That's your window of driving that you don't get impaired on your score. Fuck them, Joe.
Right. Now, smooth driving. Todd, I'm not sure if you've ever driven on a road in Pennsylvania.
Oh, there's a lot of swerving for the potholes.
Right. The one thing that it claims is that I could improve my score by braking and accelerating more gradually.
Mm-hmm.
But then phone habits, Todd. Now, the phone habit picks up if you are looking at your GPS or taking a phone call or like using Spotify or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It don't so much pick up when you're like catching a Pokemon.
Okay.
Because I go out and I do my Pokemon while I have the thing going, and my phone habits come up as like 98%.
Oh, okay. So it's the Pokemon hack?
It's right. So it doesn't score you negatively for Pokemon, but it scores you negatively for like literally everything else.
Everything else, right. Now, how does that score you if you're driving and April, who's on your insurance with the app on her phone, is going nuts doing stuff on her phone in the passenger seat, which is perfectly legal? You know what I mean?
Well, we both have separate things. Like this tracks me when I have my phone in the car, and April when we had to go and do some errands today. We had to go drop her car off at the body shop, right? Or the mechanic needs an oil change. Mm-hmm. So we drive over separately. Then we drove back together. So technically, when we drove back together, the two phones were in the car. That could technically be counted as a trip for her and a trip for me, but she would log it as she was a passenger in the car, right?
Okay, so you have to actually log it then. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I didn't know that part. I thought it was just on constantly. So that I guess that's true. Like if you got on a bus, it would tell you were driving your car if you didn't have the weighted. Okay, now it's making sense.
Right. So, and the way that it works is to continue to get the discount that we have in the policy. If we have good scores after using it for a year, the longer we have this company, the longer we're using the app, and we keep good scores, whatever that means, the discount grows as we go with them through the years.
Right.
Okay. But I just thought it was funny that the smooth driving, and again, we should that should grade in a curve in Pennsylvania, and literally the options that it gives you for time of day where they don't expect that are riskier times to be driving. Right. It's literally every time of day.
I would like to either get on a boat or a plane and log into my insurance app. Why are you going 700 miles an hour at 30,000 feet? Or why is your car in the middle of the ocean? You know,
right? I'm a pilot.
That's right. Yes. I'm a sea captain. Yes. But is that everything with your insurance app?
Yeah, that's everything with that.
I have been busy collating and getting books ready for your other podcast partner.
Oh yeah,
he dropped off a bunch of books here, and I've been doing them. And it's fun to see what the fancy gentleman speculated. I mean, bought multiples of. But no, it's very interesting to look into somebody's collection, if that makes any sense, and see what they were. Adam likes Punisher, that much I know.
Right.
But there is some other weird stuff. Like he has taste. There was some Doom 2099 in there. I don't have it all yet, but I do have, in the course of a couple days, like 2 days, I did manage to get like 6 boxes that were all clustered, like there's no rhyme or reason to them, in order and alphabetical in the box. But then, because he was bringing me boxes that had like mostly Marvel when they started. So I was like, oh, this is easy. I put them out, like, you know, because we discussed 30 long boxes. I have to go through all those. And I was like, 30 in my house is going to be too many. So once I got about 9 here, I realized, all right, now you have a job, Adam. I told him at home, I gave him an empty long box, that an extra one I had around here. I said, whatever boxes you're going to bring me next, fill that box with Marvel, only Marvel. Go through the boxes as you go, only Marvel. And then that'll open up another box, and keep doing that. Just, we're going to go through the boxes that are left until all the Marvels are gone, and that'll leave DC and Independent. So when I get through all the Marvels and you drop off new books, which will be either DC or Independent, you could take the Marvels home, because I know there won't be any more Marvels in these boxes. Mm-hmm. And that will keep the ratio down, instead of at no point will I have all 30 in my house.
There you go.
And he seemed open to it, but I think he didn't like having work to do in all of this.
Right.
So, but I did tell him his job too is to carry them in the house and out of the house, because I'm not doing it. And it made me learn why I don't use long boxes anymore, Joe.
Yeah.
Oh my God. If you see two little pink things rolling around on the ground at my house, they're my nuts.
All the long boxes are downstairs. I have all short boxes upstairs for right now. Mm-hmm. And I need to pick up a long box this week. Okay, so we'll get to so I actually, over the last, let's say 7 or 8 years, 10 years, or whatever it was, I sold through 3 people's collections. And it's, as you mentioned, it's interesting to see what people have in their collections. Mm-hmm. And, the people that I just need them out of my house, whatever it is, sell them on eBay or whatever. And they're like, keep whatever books you want for yourself. And that's how I got Secret Wars 8, which I think you posted, Amazing Spider-Man 251, things like that. There wasn't a ton that I kept, but there's tons of stuff after going through 3 collections and selling and selling and selling, even for pennies on the dollar. There's still remnants of those collections still in my house after almost 10 years, right?
Right.
That's just the way that it goes when you inherit someone else's collection and you're tasked with getting rid of it or whatever it is, right?
Right. I'm not so much tasked with getting rid of it. I'm tasked with getting it in order, and then it's up to him to do what he wants.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. I'm not selling. I just all joking aside, I really enjoy sorting comics. Do you know what I mean?
I do too.
And it's very cathartic for me, and I don't need it right now to keep my blood pressures low, but it does. It's helping me. So I go through it, and it's just just boom, 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 boom. And I like my setup that I have. I got a bunch of folding tables, and I put them out so I could go A, B, C, and then whatever. It's I don't care if this is, because he'd have bunches of it was. You remember Spider-Man Back in Black, and it ran through all the issues? Yeah. I'm don't care. Friendly goes in F. Web goes in W.
Yeah, crossovers get broken up for this thing. I get it.
And in one of the early boxes, he brought me the Supermans, and he had them in the triangle numbers. Yeah, you know what I mean? I was like, "Fuck it, action, Man of Steel." And when he came over, and I told him, he was like, "Oh, put him back in the triangles." And I was jokingly, and I was like, "Go fuck yourself." We had a good laugh. You know what I mean?
We're having fun.
We're having fun. I kid because I love. But no, it was that's what he said, and that's what kind of made me do just the Marvel stuff. But I will say this, and he found it amusing, is I have comic sorting tummy now, is what I call it. Is when I'm sorting books, I'll hold a stack of them. You know how you hold say 30 comics between your fingers and you're looking at them? Well, I rest them on my stomach, while I'm holding them and standing in front of the table. So I'll just peel off. Top one goes in B, the next one goes in D, the next one goes in S. And because he has really good bags and boards, they have the points on them. And as I'm going from one hand to the other, I'm shifting the books, and the corners are poking my stomach through the shirt. Not because I'm doing it shirtless, I swear. And I wake up in the morning and I'm like, did I get bit by bed bugs or something? And then I get in the shower. There's a visual for you. And the hot water hits and I scream because it's I got bit by 1,000 bugs, but it feels like it's a badge of honor, Joe, a badge of honor to do it. So.
Well, hopefully Adam is compensating you well for doing all this for him. What?
He is. Well, we have to discuss. We'll see. There's rumors of a fig trade, but we'll see.
Oh,
I don't
nice.
know. I don't know. And I didn't ask him for anything because I genuinely like doing this. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And if he wants to get rid of his books, he can. And then there was talks of, because Fig Daddy Cool's busy, Adam's going to come over and help me sort my figures when the time comes. Gotcha.
Now, one last thing, we'll close this up. Plug for the Patreon, patreon.com/longboxheroes. Everybody should have RIPD, $5 folks. Of course, hopefully that's you listening to this early. The best way to listen to this in the correct listening order. We did previewing the past. I was supposed to ask our local retailer about that Ronald, Sullivan, and Danner that's in the Marvel things.
Yep, I have that written down to remind you.
What was the other thing?
The two things. There was the Ronald, Sullivan, and I don't know. I don't have the other one written down. Oh, the other one was nothing to do with comics. The only thing I had written down is you were supposed to look up some Duckman stuff.
Oh, yeah, the episodes of Monday Night Raw with Duckman.
Right, but all you had was Sullivan, and all I have written down is Ronald and Sullivan. There was no other towns that I remember.
Right. I just thought there was another thing that I was supposed to ask Dave about, but again, no big deal.
There probably is, but not from that previewing the past.
Gotcha. Okay, I have that note then for when I go, and I have to go pick up my books late because of the aforementioned visitor on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. Though maybe it will just be Becky tomorrow. I don't know.
No, I'm not even bothering with going up.
Oh, you're not going tomorrow? Okay.
No, again, it's gonna be a shit show regardless, right?
Right. So, no. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it, everyone. Thank you very much. This was Longbox Heroes After Dark, episode 516, and thanks for listening. And we'll see y'all here next week.